Welcome everyone to our first in this text and story series for Black History Month. I'm Gale, Minister at Zion Baptist Church in Cambridge. Our first figure that we're looking at is Mojola Agbebi. Now, Mojola Agbebi was born in Nigeria in 1860 and was originally given the European name David Vincent Brown. He attended the Church Missionary Society School in Lagos from the age of 8 to 14. He then attended the Church Missionary Society Training School at age 17 and became one of their schoolmasters. He also became one of the first Indigenous leaders alongside Reverend Moses Ladejo Stone at the First Baptist Church in Lagos, founded by American Baptists. Mojola and Moses felt disrespected by the American Baptist missionaries, so they moved on from that church and founded the first Indigenous African Baptist Church in Nigeria in 1888. Moses became the leader of the church and Mojola served alongside him. Mojola encouraged his congregation to be self-supporting, self-governing, and to retain their African names, wear Indigenous clothing, and more generally embrace African culture. He taught his Christian faith in local languages and made use of African art and music. In 1894, whilst in Liberia, working alongside African American and African Caribbean church leaders, and after he'd been formally ordained as a Baptist minister there, Mojola changed his name from David Vincent Brown to Mojola Agbebi as a further sign of his appreciation of African culture. One of his writings, Africa and the Gospel, he wrote in 1889, contains this well-known quote: "To render Christianity indigenous to Africa, it must be watered by native hands, pruned with native hatchet, and tended with native earth. It is a curse if we intend forever to hold at the apron strings of foreign teachers doing the baby forever." Mojola wrote poems, pamphlets, books, edited newspapers in Nigeria, and then in 1903 and some of 1904 toured Britain and the USA. He lectured in those places on African customs as he offered important critique to the British colonial rule in Nigeria and its detrimental impact on African culture. He was known to wear his Yoruba clothing even in the cold weathers of Britain and the USA to make his point. His work was formally recognised internationally when he was awarded an honorary Doctor of Divinity degree from the University of New York. In 1914, the Indigenous Baptist Church he had helped to establish, together with the church plants that had come out of that church, were reunited with the American-founded Baptist churches to form the Yoruba Baptist Association, which was later to become the Baptist Convention of Nigeria. Mojola was chosen as its first president. Mojola himself died on the 17th of May, 1917. So what does this story have to say to us today? Well, here in Britain, there have been recent reports that show job applicants with more British sounding names are more likely to get job interviews. Others with natural afro hairstyles or hair have been told to adopt more European looking hairstyles, i.e. no braids, no dreadlocks. How might we be inspired by Mojola's story to respond to such 21st century challenges as British citizens who are people of colour ourselves, or as allies to British citizens who are people of colour? That is the challenge that Mojola's story leads us. And I pray it will be one that inspires us to move forward. I hope you've enjoyed this part 1 in a series of 4. Next week, we'll look at the story of Nannie Helen Burroughs. And I look forward to seeing you then.